Hello, welcome to Faith and Calm. This is class number 313. You might wonder what the sounds in the background is and what the scenery is. We're at Newark International Airport. Shalom is with us.
Okay.
She's busy eating dinner because she didn't eat today. But okay, and I'm going to give probably most of this class. But maybe we'll have some comments
I'll
from her,
have something at the
some
end.
things to say
No,
here.
just an intro to next week. Go ahead.
Intro for next week. I hope you can hear me. I'm going to put the phone a little bit closer this time so that the sound is at least somewhat good. So we're in the month of Ellul, and I think it's appropriate now to start talking about what is the month of Elul about as a preparation for Rosh Hashanah and the Day of Judgment. That's how people call it. And I want to take some of that fear and dread and worry away from people because I know from personal experience, I've gone through that. And I don't know if you've gone that through too. Looks like it's also. So, um, and just some basic ideas that go into it, and then maybe if we have enough time, I'll also talk about dreams. If not, we'll cover that a little bit later. So, because it was a very interesting class I listened to about dreams. So, the class today is okay. So people's reaction, people's feelings when they hear that the days of awe are coming tend to fall into three different categories. First category of people time to there's very traditional, I guess. They worry about what's going to happen, and so they start fasting and afflicting themselves and crying to Hashem to save them for the next year. That's one approach. I'm not going to you know I'm not going to throw out anybody's approach, but obviously I think there's some issues with that. Another group of people tends to they just start worrying. They don't know really what they're supposed to do, how they get out of the situation, and the king knows everything about you, and they start worrying about what he's going to find, what he's going to uncover, things that you forgot, everything else. And another group just doesn't is clueless. They have no idea what you're supposed to do in terms of preparation. So our class is going to be based on Kabbalah and the Arizal, and especially how Hasidus explains it, that 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 this is actually related to the parsha, that it actually is a place of safety, a place of refuge. That this month is the Arizal says that the month itself, Elul, has the letters in the Elul spells Aleph Lamed Vav Lamed, and that could be used as an acronym for many different words. But the one that the Arizal emphasizes is the one, Ani Ladodi Vidodi Li. A lot of people know that one. I am for my beloved is for me. But the one that we're going to try and emphasize is the one about Analiyadav V'samti that in this week's parsha we talk about this idea of the Are Miklat, the city of refuge. And the idea of the city of refuge is that it is a place where whether people who did something intentionally or not intentionally, a terrible crime, murder, they can be they can find refuge, a safety zone. That's a good way to put it, a safety zone where they can be safe and they don't have to worry about it. So the 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 actual law of the city of refuge goes as follows. And I know it's going to sound a little bizarre on the material level, but let's explain it that, and then we'll explain what the lesson is for us. So the idea is if a person accidentally kills somebody, manslaughter, um, then they are the family might want to do revenge against them, and they're given permission to do revenge against the person and kill him. So that person, though, can flee to a city of refuge. And there's broad roads, 32 amos wide, which is about 60 feet wide, with signs well marked. So the person can easily get there, not be found, get there in time. And once he's in the city, it's like, the safety zone. You cannot be, nothing bad can happen to you. Nobody can happen to you. The murderer intentionally or unintentionally would go there, and then the court would bring them to the court, and they would decide, is this intentional or unintentional? If it was unintentional, that person could go back to the city of refuge. And if it was intentional, then no, there wasn't any out there. If there was witnesses and he intentionally killed somebody, then as we know from the Ten Commandments, the punishment is you shall not kill. So punishment was that he was executed. Okay, so what does this have to do with us, and what does it have to do with Ellul? So the Arizal explains, and he says, there is the idea of physical murder, but there's also the idea of spiritual murder. You can when you do an Avera, you are in effect cutting yourself off from the source of your life. And what is an Avera? So people translate it as sin. It means something that God said, no, don't do it. That's what an Avera is on simple level. So, and that's for anything, when you decide, God doesn't matter, and you want to just do what you want to do, you weaken that connection with your source of your life, and you're actually, in effect, you're ruining your spiritual connection, which is the source of your life, your real purpose in life. So the answer the Al says is you have to go to a city of refuge. That's what the idea of a city of refuge is. A city of refuge is a place where that whether you did it intentionally or you did it not intentionally, you can fix yourself. And because why would you ever do anything bad? So let's explain that. So the idea is, let's look at the idea of even of murder on the physical plane. People are afraid to be damaged. If nobody would jump into a fire, we all know what physical pain is all about. And to cause it to somebody else, that would be awful too. So a person would definitely feel terrible doing that. But this person is doing this accidentally. Yes, but even if it's accidental, this idea that you would accidentally cut yourself off from your own source of life, that it sounds like a bad thing, and it is a bad thing. So what the Torah is teaching you is there's a refuge for you, because the reason that you do things that you would later regret, and you would say, I didn't think I'm better than that, is because you get accustomed to certain customs in life, habits, modes of interacting, and it just becomes reflective over the course of time that you actually behave in a particular way. And that is what we change in Ellul. That's why you go to a city of refuge, because the city of refuge is you go away from your usual friends, you go away from your usual influences, you go to a special a place where, when now that you're away, you feel a little bit like, oh, I'm cut off from other people, and you start to be able to change, to make a radical change in your life. If we didn't have Ellul and we didn't have Rosh Hashanah, life would just go on and on and on the same old way. So Ellul is the time to go and take stock and reflection, to find a cities of refuge, to go and to live a normal life, but a life that's a little different than what you have before, to make that a break from your customary things. And that is what the idea of a city of refuge is. It's not about a punishment for the person. It's about what do I call it? Not a penitentiary. It's a rehabilitation center, a rehabilitation center for the soul, that you can actually realign yourself. Now, in the time of the temple, as I said before, if you did something intentionally, then the court would judge you. But here, we don't have a temple anymore. But the city of refuge now operates on a spiritual level. And that's the interesting thing about it. That means that whether you intend, what happens now is a court, a human court can only judge things on the basis of actual actions, not on your thoughts. So if the person who went to the city of refuge had regrets and did tshuva and did repent, they can't use that. They have to judge him according to the material world. But now we don't have a human court. We only have the heavenly court, and the heavenly court can take into consideration who you are and have you done tshuva. So when a person goes to the city of refuge, and even if he had done things intentionally bad, and that still doesn't affect anything, because in the heavenly court they can see he really means to turn over a new leaf, and therefore he is on the same level as a person who intentionally or not intentionally did an avera. He can be rescued from that, and that is the idea of Ellul today. Ellul today is a safety zone. It's a way to be able to save oneself from the blood redeemer. And the blood redeemer is the Satan, who always wants to bring accusations about us and about our soul. And we can be redeemed from him and saved from him by simply saying, you know what? I'm going to spend the time. I'm going to go to a spiritual city of refuge. I'm going to soak myself in Torah. I'm going to soak myself in prayer. I'm going to soak myself in a different environment. And from that environment itself, just normal life, king in the field, living with together the king in the field, we can actually start transforming ourselves. So I think it is an uplifting message. It's not about worrying about what's happening. You don't have to fast. You don't have to, not eat. You can have your nice dinner there. You don't have to lose weight. You don't have to torture yourself. You can live a normal life. And that is the idea of that is our preparation for Ellul. So I did say that if I had time, I would talk a little bit about dreams. So if somebody wants to hear about that. So this is the second part of the class. And it was a class from Rabbi Manis Friedman, who was saying, talking to people about dreams. And he talked about that the original prototype in the Torah of dreams would be the dreams of Yosef and the dreams of Paro, of Pharaoh in Egypt. And they were two different kinds of dreams. Pharaoh had a dream, and he knew it had to be interpreted. Why did he know it had to be interpreted? Because dreams, they have a message for you. They want you to do something. That you have to get it to it. And his advisors were just telling him, this is a dream like all other dreams. It's just about something. The dream repeated himself. Why is it coming to me? Why is it coming to my family? Oops. Sorry, just joined.
So he knew.
So let me get myself back into the picture here. So I'm in the middle of at Newark Airport. I'm giving the class. Sorry. So if you could mute yourself, that would be great. All right. So I'm explaining a little bit about dreams.
Number one, he knew that he was the king of the country.
He knew he was the king of the country.
And it was a repeated dream. Yeah, he knew it was he's the king of the country. He knows that he has significance, and he also knew that that when something is repeated, it obviously somebody's sending him a message. And so he knew he needed an interpretation for those dreams.
But the advisors were just telling him it's about your daughters, and they're going to marry, and then they're going to have kids or whatever, and so forth. And so he didn't. When Yosef came along and said, God is telling Paro, this is a message to the king, to the king of the country, and he wants you to do something. He'd never heard that before. So he said, wow, this is a wise man. I never knew that. Yeah, but it makes no sort of sense. The dream is coming to me, it's being repeated, it's coming multiple times, and it's a message. I got to do something about it. And that's why Yosef told him, you got to do something about it. But most dreams are not like that. So when Yosef had his dream, he told it to his brothers. And he was hoping his brothers would tell him there's something about this dream. But they didn't tell him anything. All they told him was that you're going to be a ruler over us. And he was very disappointed because he was hoping his brothers would give him a useful explanation. That's why he told it to them, so that they would give it to him. And that's why he told them the second dream. is because he was hoping that they would have some explanation. When he saw that there was nothing to do, he knew it. But dreams in general, most dreams, Rabbi Friedman says, probably are it's just the soul that goes up, and it doesn't necessarily have any particular connection to any. It's not telling you about the future. It's not telling you what you have to do, and you can forget about those dreams and so forth because things happen in dreams that are not sequential. And the reason, because we know that you can move from one place to another, a person can be living or not living, and it can happen in an instant. You can see an elephant go through an eye of a needle. All sorts of impossible things happen. That's because when the soul goes to a higher level of state, it's not limited by the body, it's not limited by the mind, and it can therefore tap into certain kinds of
Oh my
energy.
gosh.
But
I
you
didn't
don't
see him.
necessarily know. I'd like to be quiet in the audience. So yeah. So that can happen to you. Now, the reason I'm telling this is because this is also related to people who think related to the first part of the class, where we were talking about the idea of Ellul and how one can transform oneself. And people say, "This is who I am. I've always been this way. How is this Ellul going to be different? How is this Rosh Hashanah going to be different?" And the answer is that in Gullus, we're living in a dream. In exile, we're living in a dream. And therefore, you don't have to wait. Things can change immediately in your life and what's happening with you. In one instant, it can go from one end to the other. Because when you're in a dream-like situation, there is no requirement for things to follow sequentially and orderly. So therefore, a person says, "This is too hard for me. It's impossible for me." That's not the situation. You can do everything in one below. And if you want to
clarify that, no, I just want to clarify that. Why does the Shimon say that we're in exile? I mean, most of us live in America, and we can buy whatever we can buy whatever we can afford. We don't have. So why does he say we're living in exile? So the reason is that whenever the Jews are not in, whenever the land of Israel is not being conducted by, according to Jewish law, then that means that the Jewish people are in exile. When we have a country, when Israel is once again free of enemies and is being conducted, the leaders of the country and the ruling body of the country is running according to Torah, that is when we're not in exile. So anyway, we're still in exile a little bit, although the Lubavitch Rebbe says that we are, that he said in 1991, the redemption of the Jewish people in the entire world is beginning to unfold. And I'll remind everybody that the Rebbe made breathtaking predictions, breathtaking prophecies that it came true one after another. Things that nobody believed would ever come true, and they came true one after another. So I have perfect faith that this is going to happen now, even though what's happening in the world is so. It doesn't seem like that. It looks like the opposite of what the Rebbe said. But the Rebbe has a better track record than I do. He has a better track record than all the political pundits, and so this is what's happening. I just want to say that stay tuned next week, because next week I have the next week's theme is going to be never say something is impossible for you. Never say something is like you and it's a situation seems impossible. I'll never be able to manage because I'll tell you next week, but it's a magnificent story. So please tune in. Okay, back to us, Shimon.
Okay, so that's it for class number 313. I'm going to sign out here. You can see we're at the airport waiting and we're going to be boarding sometime soon. But welcome to everybody. Thank you for everybody for staying online.
Are we allowed to ask where you're going?
Back to Boston.
Oh, you went to where did you go? Can I ask where you went that you're coming
I don't
back?
know how to end this class and make it personal and not
okay, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, but I'm back at work. It's my first time.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful.
Wonderful.
Okay, be well.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So have a safe flight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.